Yo, how's it going, everybody? I am here. I just worked a whole day at home because I am sick. Last night I had a little fever, 99.9. Nothing crazy, but nevertheless, it's a fever. And I've been feeling the sick of my bones, you know what I mean? The kind of chills and the kind of fatigue that just like sits in the core of your body. And so I spent the whole day on my couch and I did work on my computer. So I've been staring at my computer a lot. I just put in eye drops. I don't know if you can tell. I just put in eye drops because my eyes get irritated. They're probably less irritated now that since I've put eye drops in it. I did some reading at the end of my workday on organizing and campaign planning. And then for some reason, my mind just rolled onto the idea of like video creation and just some thoughts on it that's connected to some of the things I've been learning. So I figured I'd just hop on and yap about it. To start, when it comes to these videos, the video where I'm sitting here talking to the camera in my room and I have like no viewers, there really is no target demographic. Like, there's nobody who I am making these videos for. Mostly because I don't necessarily see the things that I have to say right now as profound or like providing for somebody in any particular moment. A lot of it is literally just thoughts on my own personal life. Not too personal, but like the things happening to me, the things that I'm thinking about. And even though for some it might be interesting, it probably really is only interesting to the people who follow along down the road, who end up coming back to this, if that ever happens. So largely, this exercise is for me. This making this video is for me. And if you're watching this, heck yeah, that's super cool. You know, it's probably going to be like the third one on my channel, which is pretty neat that you're going to see that this early. Part of the thinking is, and this is probably a principle for life, it's so much easier and maybe more effective. I don't know what the right word exactly would be. It's more natural, maybe. It's more organic, maybe, to just start with something and then evolve it as it goes. So like right now, the stuff I'm talking about might not provide a ton of value. It might not be for a specific person, except for maybe somebody who needs some talking happening behind them when they fall asleep. But even then, there's a lot of other things that would probably be more fitting, like the I forget what the podcast is called, the podcast by Travis McElroy, where he just talks about cereal. Or is it Justin? I'm sorry if I'm forgetting which one it is, but one of the McElroy brothers talking about cereal. There's even other things that like fit the kind of thing this kind of content might fit into, other than people who are specifically interested in my life and what I'm thinking of, which is a very small number. However, to think that someday I might, because I am in the practice of talking to the camera about thoughts I have, I might end up actually discovering that I have quite a few things to say that are actually important. Actually important, quote unquote. Everything's, subjective. Something that does provide value or has some kind of application to life. You know what I mean? This is not a session to talk myself down. This isn't like a session to say that what I'm doing now is meaningless, But I feel like there's two truths happening at the same time. One truth is this is special because it is my thoughts and I'm going through the effort of putting it online, and some people may come across it and enjoy it. And the other truth, which is this is pretty much just some random guy's thoughts. I'm not an expert. I've done some things, and a lot of it is just kind of ramblings and it's unplanned. And so there's a lot of content like that on YouTube. And it's also a little bit nothing. It's like kind of a nothing burger. But I kind of love that. I kind of love doing something that's a nothing burger because it feels unserious. It feels fun. I ended up making this video because I was considering streaming this evening. I thought about streaming a horror game, and I could possibly still do that, but I figured that would take a lot of energy that I should probably save because I'm pretty cognitively wiped from working all day. I am like sick, and so I was like, and I streamed last night, and I didn't sleep well last night. There's additive things, so I was like, well, I kind of feel like talking about something, so might as well, you know? Even though streaming is a habit that's easier to get back into, this felt more fitting, which is kind of exciting for me. That this ritual of turning on the camera, of talking to it, is becoming more of it's starting to feel more like a thing that I am ready to just sit and do because I enjoy it, which is an exciting development. I heard recently, and I think I agree with this for the most part, that most people who go on the endeavor of social media or like creating things for people to witness and then enjoy of themselves, there is sort of a degree of narcissism that is nested into that practice. And I am not calling everyone who does this narcissists. I think it was Dr. K with Healthy Gamer who maybe I heard this from. In the practice of putting yourself out there, putting your face on something, sharing your thoughts, or maybe it's not your thoughts, doing something to get people's response that is positive. In that way, we are putting ourselves out there and then getting some form of validation. At least that's what we're hoping for. We're hoping for views. We're hoping that people like it. We're hoping that people vibe with it. We hope that people do all of the things that are affirming, like subscribe and like and whatnot. And I'm not saying that's wrong or bad. I mean, that's just kind of how humans work. We put ourselves out there, and then when people respond positively, we feel affirmed. We feel worthy of some kind of attention, of some kind of love. Most people are walking around with this sort of need for acknowledgement, a need for reassurance that we are worthy of attention, that we are worthy of love. That comes from childhood. And again, not necessarily wrong or bad. It is just how we are. It's how humans are. So it makes sense that some turn to media to a degree, and some of it is out of, desiring to put something out into the world that is positive, that people can connect to, that people can grow with. And I think that is amazing. Same with art. A lot of art is to communicate a feeling or an idea or a history or a vision, to people who can resonate with that and then pull from it and like integrate it into their lives, into how their minds work. And I think all of that is noble and beautiful. And at the same time, nested within these kinds of activities is that principle of I'm putting myself out there and I hope that people like it, that people like me. And something is interesting that's happening on my journey as I learn more about this kind of thing and I work on my own healing and resolving my own fears. Sorry for the sniffle. I find myself less impulsive to or less craving to want to try to accomplish media, to like conquer it. To like go out and do it good. That is less, that wolf is not as strong as it used to be in me. You know what I mean? And now the idea of sitting in front of a camera and just talking with disheveled bedhead and a messy room, not trying to make it something it's not trying to make it profound, but just being what I am and then connecting with people. That sounds fire. That sounds fun. And that's something that I hope that I can experience with like streaming and other art I make. And I'm feeling less friction to interacting with it. I'm feeling less friction to just doing it. When before I think there was more friction because there was so much weight to it. It was like, this has to be accepted, which I think does tie back to feelings of self and insecurity. Again, I'm not saying that all people that do media like experience it this way. I think many people probably either like don't feel those things or don't think those things. But I think in general, as a through line, this is probably true. A lot of people probably disagree with that. And I'll admit, like, when it comes to being online and being myself, that also means that I'm sharing some thoughts that people will be maybe unhappy with. But that's the nature of it, baby. That's humanity. We're all going to disagree on some stuff. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to hop on here and yap about that. You know, maybe my mind will change on that particular like idea. Maybe I will experience it differently later on. Maybe I'm totally off base. That's all totally possible. You know, my mind is also always changing on stuff. I think that's good as we learn. Looking forward to like making more stuff and seeing if any of it resonates. And hopefully I don't get too caught up in trying to make it acceptable. And I hope you can make stuff and be happy with whatever it is and just see it as a gift to the world. There it is. That's the profoundness.